And we are back. Excuse me. Stripe Show podcast. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. Got to get the rust off here after missing last week through the hurricane there. We had to shut it down. And, well, it's passed through. The sun is out, and it's 80 degrees here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. No humidity. Feels great. And our man is back as we get back after the best bets. Shriners Children's Open this week out in Las Vegas. Our man at Read the Line, Keith Stewart. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Glad to see everyone down there in the Fulton household is recovering well. I know most of Florida's in a lot of trouble, so our thoughts still go out to all you folks down there in the Sunshine State, and best wishes for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, it's been back to back here. And Jacksonville seems to be in a great location where we get some of it, of course, but not the brunt of it many times like you see down in Southern Florida, and in this case, Tampa. I mean, just back to back underwater. You were mentioned to me before we came on air, you got married in St. Pete right there on the beach, so you know that area well.
Oh yeah, it's a shame. My wife went to Eckerd College, which is right there in St. Pete Beach, and yeah, I just can't even imagine a 10-foot storm surge coming up through that area because it's sea level, it's negative sea level. I mean it's man, 2 times in 2 weeks, and we have so many friends in golf down in Florida, you and I both, and I just wish them all the very, very best. Like one of my best friends in golf is the director of golf at a place called the Sanctuary Golf Club, which is out on Captiva.
Yeah, I know where it is.
I mean, 3 years ago, when what was that? Ian came through and destroyed Fort Myers, and then he's had 2 more this year. I mean, geez, oh flip.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not the most religious person in the world, but man, God bless everybody down there. And
well, it's like, you get to, it's just cat, all of a sudden it's like Cat 5. I mean, just like that. These storms get so big, and now this one's so fast and violent in the eye. You can see it perfectly spinning Cat 5, 180 in the middle. You're just thinking to yourself, geez, I mean, it's just, can't even comprehend it. And then you start looking at the track, and it's moving a little south. And, fortunately for people in Northeast Florida, it continued to move south. So, we got some wind and rain, but nothing like we saw down there. Little weather this week, it looks like some wind, not hurricane force wind, but I think we're going to be seeing some wind in Vegas, TPC Summerlin. We'll get to that here in a second. I do want to spend a few minutes. The Black Desert Championship out in Utah. I didn't watch much golf, as you can imagine, but our boy Matt McCarty, the last time that we were on 2 weeks ago, I asked you, I said, what do you know about this guy, Matt McCarty? He seems to be winning. And not on the PGA Tour yet, but 2 weeks later, here he is. He gets his win. But the last 10 starts as a pro, if I have this right, he has 4 wins.
Yes, correct. Yeah, 1 in July, 2 in August. He got the Battlefield promotion. He skips the last week, the Korn Ferry Tour Championship. He skips that week, and he goes to the Sanderson. I mean, just got to give it to the guy, and he got it done.
He did.
A big thing that I was pushing last week was that we didn't know the venue, and it wasn't even like they had a collegiate event there or anything. The thing was brand new. It wasn't just a brand new PGA Tour event. The course opened in 2023. So, everyone's saying, like, how do we pick a winner? How do we pick a winner? And I said, at the end of the day, when you go to a place where you have 132 rookies, favor the good putters. Right? You always take the good putters when you don't know the golf course, because they will save strokes in the long run over the course of 72 holes. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. Matt McCarty, he's one of the top 3 putters on the Korn Ferry Tour this year, right? The guy can roll the rock. Most of the guys you saw at the top of the board are also guys that can roll the rock. And, that Black Desert Championship was pretty cool. I hope they bring that back. The lava rocks, if you missed
it looked good.
It was really, really good. And had some character to it. Golly, it was beautiful. Slow play was absolutely atrocious. 132 man field with no weather delays, and they couldn't finish round 1 or round 2. People should be embarrassed for themselves. It's unbelievable. But anyway, all positive things though for me on the golf course and the field and the winner. I think that a really, really nice event.
Hey, well, It's good to see it back out west. I like to see the golf back out there, and
Yeah.
in Utah. Of course, this is a tournament now in Vegas that's been going for a while. It's had multiple different names, but I was just looking at his stats. I mean, yeah, he can putt. That's certainly a strength of his. Positive
Oh, yeah.
6.6. But he was good off the tee. Pretty solid with the iron game. Positive 2.2. Got it up and down when he needed to. Yeah, he just popped, right? He was a guy that you just kind of look and watch, and he warranted the question. What do you know about this guy? He looks
Oh, definitely.
he looks different, and so for him to come out and win, that's impressive stuff. All right, let's move it forward.
And he
The
just doesn't
defending
look
champ.
different because he's lefty.
No, good move. Good move. I did a little breakdown on Instagram. Good swing, simple, turns the corner well through impact, stabilizes the face, rotation,
Ooh,
all
I
those
love all
things
those
that you like.
words.
Oh yeah, you like all those
Yeah,
things.
I love that. Yeah.
Lefty,
Okay.
just like the guy that designed TPC Summerlin, student of mine, Bobby Weed. Bobby
Oh,
Weed's a lefty. Yeah.
Bobby
Many
Weed's a
people
good
don't know that.
architect, man. Not a popular
He
one, but
is.
he's a good
Yeah.
architect. Yep.
He does some nice things. Yeah, he does some nice things.
Does.
He does a lot of good charity work here in Ponte Vedra as well. Good guy. Really like him a lot. Nice player. Can get it around. Good clip. But yeah, he's done some good things. TPC Summerlin, private club out there. Shriners Children's Open, defending champ. I remember it well. Tom Kim. What do we know about this place? Seems like you gotta have to have it all. I mean, I don't think you're going to overpower this. I guess it's possible. I've played it. It's been a while, but approach 100, 125, 150 wedge, short iron play needs to be elevated here. I don't think you can fake it around these greens. I think you got to be able to certainly clip it, get her up and down around these greens. And then putting the surfaces, right? You got to be able to. Seems like good putters on the PGA Tour, much like last week. You took the putter, Matt McCarty. Are we kind of going down that same path this week again?
I mean, I think it's almost the same exact blueprint. About the
Okay.
only thing that changes is the elevation. Last week we played at 3,000. This week we're playing at 2,000 out there in Vegas, or whatever the exact above sea level is for town there. But so the guys are going to get a little extra carry, but it really comes down to the fact that weather aside for a second, the last
Mm-hmm.
5 editions, the average winning score is 23 under par. So you want your
Yep.
birdie or better guys, and those guys have to be able to putt. And it's very hard to rely on somebody just to pop with their putter if they're a great ball striker. And you go back through the last couple winners, I mean, the guys were definitely good putters. Tom Kim, the last two, I mean, he's averaging 26 subpar scores in his last 2 wins. He had 24 in one and 28 in the other. I mean, you have to be solid. I think it's wedges on approach, but I really like the putters here. I also like the guys that can move it a little bit off the tee, but they can keep it in the green grass. Now, I'm not separating fairway from rough because, I was out there last year covering the event, and it was interesting to me. It's very much like the Black Desert Championship. If you hit anything that was green, you could attack the pin. If you missed the green, you were in the lava rocks. Well, this week you're either in homes or you're in the desert. So just keep it on the green grass and you can attack from anywhere. And that's why the guys go so low here. So a stat like good drives gained, guys that when they miss the fairway, they only miss by a little bit. Certainly if they can move it and be accurate off the tee, I like that. And like sometimes it's like, okay, well, where are the edges going to come in? Par threes are tough here. 3 of the 4 play over par. So that's kind of like an even par spot. There's only 3 par fives. So I really like the par 4 players here.
Hmm.
And I think that a lot of people that are probably modeling this out, if they throw in that skill, you're going to start to see some names pop up near the top that really make a lot of sense. And also guys that have been playing well through the first, 3 editions now of the fall FedEx Cup. And those names, they're all pretty much playing this week. Most of the big guns that have played well this fall. And it's good to see and it's exciting. So that's where
Yeah.
my head's at on TPC Summerlin.
Yeah. It's you go back last 5 years. It's kind of interesting. The guy that's really played well here is Adam Hadwin, of course, finished
Yeah.
second, lost to Tom Kim last time around. But he's got a T10, he's got a T6, he's got a T4. I mean, this guy's a top 10 machine at this place. But then you go back, how's Adam Hadwin playing? Last time we saw him, I mean, not exactly roses. I mean, this guy not hitting it
Yeah.
well the last time we saw him. Now, he's had, just under 2 months off, probably went and worked on some things, come back to a place that he likes. And, you're going to hear that name kicked around quite a bit. Hadwin likes it. Naismith likes it. Shank, Tom Kim, course right there. Martin Laird. Joel Damon has played pretty well here. Can't putt. Probably going to stay away from that. Tom Hoagie, that's a name you're going to hear kicked around quite a bit. I mean, these are some of the guys last 5 years that have played well. But I don't think any of those guys are part of your first look, are they? So
no.
Let's take it to a little something that we call first play. Take it away.
Let me create some room. Boom. I'm on the mouse with Beau Hossler. Big Beau.
There he is. Bobo.
Give it to me.
There he is. Watch this swing. Watch this swing. It's like a right-handed Matt McCarty almost. Like they got some similar stuff going.
Oh, yeah.
Simple. Beau. University of Texas.
Yeah.
Texas plays Georgia this weekend.
Oh, man.
4-point favorite. You think Beau's just like a diehard football fan? Does he strike you as one of those?
I think I'd love to see on Sunday Beau Hossler versus Harris English in my own version of Texas versus Georgia.
There you go.
That's what I'm going after right there. No, I mean, Beau Hossler. So one of the things, we talked about this back around the time of the Procore or the Sanderson. I can't remember when, but I did a deep dive on the last 2 falls and who plays the best. And the reason being is that we've had like the same 8 to 10 events the last couple of years, but they're all in the same venues. So it was like, okay, well, who plays well here? Like, who are the horses for courses for the whole fall? And if you look at the guys in the field, Beau Hossler is just outside the top 10 for strokes gained total with 11 starts over the last 2 falls. And this place is one of his best by far. In his 5 career starts here, he's averaged strokes gained total over 5 strokes gained against the field, 7th place last year here at the Shriners. He was runner-up at the Sanderson a couple weeks ago. He was 11th at the Black Desert. He checks all the boxes. Great wedge player. Great scrambler. We haven't gotten into the weather yet. We could probably talk about it here. And he's an absolutely great putter. So if you go to golfodds.com, they always put out the over-under for the week for the winning score. And you would think this place would have been around 20. Well, it's 16.5 this week. And if then, all of a sudden you start to say to yourself, geez, what's going on out there? And then you look and the wind's going to blow 20 miles an hour for the first couple of rounds. You're like, ooh, that could be interesting out there because it still is a target golf course, right? That's, you got to make some birdies on. So I like the fact that Hossler is one of the guys that's playing really, really good in the fall, like a Steven Yeager, like a Lucas Glover, who's not here, but Lucas Glover, like Patton Kazire, like these guys that are playing really, really good. Hossler's one of the better scramblers, and he's definitely very, very good here at the Shriners. So I love it.
Yeah, he's going to be popular. There's no doubt. Beau's playing some good golf, but my guy, he's not as good a scrambler as this guy. And you know how much I love this guy. And I'm coming back to him.
Oh boy,
this week. Now we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him in a couple months. But Cam Davis checks the box. He likes this place. T7. He's strong off the tee. You want a little length, want a little accuracy. He's got it. He's got the iron game. Those wedges, 100, 125. He's one of the best in the field. Hey, you want birdies? Last 24 rounds, no one's made more birdies than this guy. Now he's coming off a little bit of a break, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But he checks out on the splits with putting here. I think when you look at his trends and you start moving over here, I think he putts better over here. I think he putts better in this region, California, Vegas. Right. You've seen it. Now, he's got a win earlier this year as well, Rocket Mortgage. You may recall he won that. Played very well there. And so he checks a lot of boxes for me. Now, he may have a little bit of rust. We need to come out of the gate, make 5 or 6 birdies on Thursday, but I think this guy's going to get the engines going. I think he's one of the best players, one of the most talented players in the field. And if we get that A game like we saw at Rocket Mortgage, if we get that A game like we saw last year at the West Coast Swing in the fall, and he starts putting like he did, +4, +5, and he's been trending nicely even there in August before the break, I think we could see a second win this year for this guy, Cam Davis.
I mean, not a lot of guys finished 5th at the BMW. So I mean,
Yeah, he was right. Last time we saw him, 5th.
Yeah, 5th at the BMW.
Yeah.
Top 50 players on the tour this year. He finished 5th. And all the things you needed to do out there in Colorado, you certainly need to do here. Bomb it, birdie it, get it done. So
still get him. You could still get him at 40-1 right now. You could still get him at 40-1.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you and I were talking about Cam Davis last year, all fall with Taylor Pendrith and a couple other guys. And certainly he came back and he won this year. So Davis Thompson was another that we were, and that prototype player, fits very, very well at TPC Summerlin. I can't argue much against. So
now you mentioned Bo from Texas. I think Davis Thompson probably could be that Georgia player. He's up there at 28-1. Of course, he got his win earlier this year. We've been talking about him for a lot here on the podcast. Pendrith, 25. The favorite, of course, is Tom Kim. I think if I had to, let me ask you this, because I've kind of got both these guys circled. If he had to pick between, Seamus Power's playing some very consistent golf right now. Tom Hoge checks a ton of boxes here, right? And Tom Hoge could very well win this thing. If you had to pick between Hoge and Power, where would you go? They're both right now at 33.
Power, without a doubt. I wouldn't even consider Hoge.
Okay.
Power just came off of 2 top 11s. He went over to Ireland. He was 26 there. Before that, he was at the St. Jude, finished 10th there. That's a ball striker's paradise, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever the beginning that was going on of his season, there was something obviously bothering him because he finished very, very strong. The guy at Black Desert last week, he gained like almost 6 on approach, and he lives in Vegas. So now he's going home, sleep in his own bed, and he's coming off 2 top 11s. I mean, I don't have any reason to pick Tom Hoge in that equation. Seamus Power will be on my outright card this week.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
So I think top of the board, 40, 45 and under, you've got Bo in Power.
Yep.
And I'm going with Cam Davis in Power.
All right.
Fair?
Yeah.
I like that.
My question about Cam Davis, and he could certainly, and you could come back and say, Keith, he already won this year, but why doesn't Cam Davis win more? Because if you just look at this field and you told me the top 5 most talented guys in the field as golfers. So if they and I know this is hypothetical, but if you said, if the guys in this field were playing at their peak, who are the top 5 guys in this field? Well, Tom Kim would be one, no doubt. Cam Davis would be one of the top 5.
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Talent wise, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't put Davis Thompson in that top 5. It's just one of those things where there's a lot of reasons to like Cam Davis here. I just wonder why he doesn't win more often. And it's obviously we're having a winning conversation, this is a good fit for him. There's no doubt.
But this is a field where that, there's not a lot of prolific winners in the field either this week. And there's some.
Yeah.
But this isn't exactly, an A field, right? We're missing a lot of guys. So, Cam Davis certainly is going to stand out. His ability, what we've seen, we know what his ceiling is.
Yeah.
It seems like that floor is a little too low. Like he can fall a little too much. A lot of missed cuts still in there for his skill set.
Yeah.
So he's got to hit it right with him. He's got to hit it right, with him. And he's going to be well rested. He's coming to a place that he likes. He's coming to a place that he's putted very well at.
Yeah. And he is, he's in the top 50. See, it doesn't matter. He's good to go.
Another guy, as we move down the board, then I'll let you drive the ship.
All right.
You want a putter, JT Poston. Probably tough to jump on that. I just can't get on Hadwin. I've seen his name kicked around. You've been talking about JJ Spawn, obviously playing very well. He's at 40. But you got to go to the UNLV guy, right? You got to go to the UNLV guy. Look at this. A couple years ago, there's my man. I got to spend some time with Harry. This was 2 years ago at the Shriners. He's a trip. He's funny, man. He's not that interview wise, like he's not gonna like give you a lot, but he's got this dry sense of humor and he says some funny stuff. I mean, he's an interesting guy. And of course, he's got to win this year. So like Cam, he's
Yeah.
looking for his second win, and he's got to feel pretty good about where he's at, the season that he's had. Now he's got 2 more years out there and coming back to a place that he knows well. I mean, Harry Hall can putt. Do you give him a chance here at all?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I bet Harry Hall last week.
Okay.
So, I mean, Harry Hall is definitely somebody that, I'm gonna feature again on my betting card.
Mm,
He's a member at TPC Summerlin. He went to UNLV. He's a Las Vegas resident. Um, don't be confused by the accent. He did look good last week. The approach could have been a little better. It was like, for
yeah,
where he's been lately. But the guy can score. The guy can make a boatload of birdies, and he's
he
definitely
can
going to be
putt.
comfortable. Well, if it starts blowing 20 miles an hour, I like the guys that play TPC Summerlin a lot
Yep.
because they're going to feel
Hmm.
more comfortable. And he's got a good number there. And in that range, um, if you start to just like do a rolling strokes gained, like who's good over the last 24 rounds, like, Harry Hall is going to be up there and definitely in the top 6, 5, 4 guys that are in this field for how they've been playing because it's not just the win that he had at ISCO, right? But
Yeah.
he had a 12th at the British Masters. I mean, like the guy's been, he goes over DP World Tour, he plays good. He comes back here, he plays good. So he looked pretty good last week in the desert. The approach game kind of let him down a little bit, but I'm back on that train, which is the opposite of JJ Spawn because I was all over Spawn for the Sanderson,
Oh,
and then
okay.
he just doesn't show up, and then he withdraws with an injury,
All right.
right? So blacklist, you're done, pal.
So we're done with JJ. We're done. Get out of here,
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy is
JJ.
he played okay last week out in Utah, but
Yeah.
like I have a tough time sometimes investing in people, and it's not personal to him. It's that type of golfer that then all of a sudden he just checked out, right? Because he didn't play good in the first round of the Sanderson. It's like, oh, I'm not going to play the rest of the time. You don't know card.
Yeah. Harry can
And
Harry
if
can
he was injured, then that's another reason not to bet him now because then he's injured. So either way, done.
I have a feeling that Harry wants to win the blow. I have a feeling that Harry's like, yeah, bring it up. Bring up those conditions in Vegas and I know how to
Oh
handle it.
yeah.
He knows how to, he can
Yep.
he'll play the bump and run game all day. And like he can go unconscious with the putter. I mean, he can really start filling it up quick. Guy that
Especially on
works
his
for me
home
here.
course.
Yeah. The guy that works for me here, teacher will go out and caddy for him from time to time. And so I always kind of pick his brain a little bit about his ability to roll the rock. But the iron game was better earlier this summer. And he needs to get that a little bit sharper, like we saw at the ISCO, where he did get that first win. So, all right, drive the ship. We're down now in the 50s and the 60s. Take it away.
Well, I'm going to stay right there near Harry Hall and go with another Harry. I mentioned him already, but Harris English.
Another
So
putter.
we're talking about guys that have talent in this field. How many guys in this field have 4 wins in their career? Right? And are still good golfers.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? I mean, I'm sure
Yep.
there's guys down there at the bottom that I'm not thinking of, but how many guys in this field have 4 wins? He's got
Ricky
probably
Fowler.
another 20. Yeah, but we're not talking about Ricky Fowler, right? Like
Well, he's
as
right
far
there.
as
Ricky's getting a lot of respect this week for having his head above water the last time we saw him.
well, again, because Ricky's so popular, the books have to give him a reasonable number because if they gave him a huge number where he belongs, that people would just hammer the heck out of it, and then if the planets align, then they get killed because
I
Ricky's
mean,
that popular. He's probably he's probably the
16th at Sanderson Farms. I mean, this guy's back. He's
oh
back.
yeah, yep, yep. We'll next week when we're talking about Japan, I'll tell you how much he's back. All right, yeah.
Ricky, I'll tell you what, Ricky struggled putting there for a while, but it seems to be moving in the right direction again. I'll give him that.
He's probably the most popular guy, he or Tom Kim in the field, right? That the fans would be there for. And you got to give the guy credit.
Would you bet Ricky over Daniel Berger? Which one you buying more?
Berger, 100%.
Okay. All right.
And he's probably, if I thought about it, he's got to have more than 4 wins, right? Or close to it. He's probably
Berger?
right there. Yeah. How many wins in his career?
Ooh, yeah, he's got to have That's a good question. I don't have it right in front of me.
It's got to be right,
But
right,
it was
right
good. I mean,
around
it's
there.
good to see Daniel, healthy, number 1, but hey, 7th at Sanderson, 35th at Black Desert, starting to drive the ball well. Iron game starting to show some signs. His
Yeah,
head's above water with the putter. Like he's working himself back.
he's got he's got 4 wins too.
He's got 4 wins. Yeah, his last win was out in AT&T back in 2021. I remember that like it was yesterday too. I
Yeah,
remember that.
well, he was injured for like almost 2 years with that back, and then he redid his swing.
Yeah.
Maybe another good case study for you to do a to
Yeah.
do a,
Well,
like
I've
especially.
got his old and new. Remember that we were looking at it when a few weeks back, and I mean this guy's made some changes. There's no
Oh,
doubt to the club at the
wholesale.
top.
Yeah,
Wholesale changes. So
yeah,
I think injury related Daniel, not probably as much as Will. I mean, every injury you're kind of working around. I mean, I think Will Zalatoris has had to really reconstruct some things, but
yeah. I was
Daniel's
thinking
had to
it's
change some
funny.
stuff.
Yeah, I was just thinking when we were saying wholesale changes. I said the only guy I could think on tour has made more changes to his swing in the last year would be Zalatoris. Those two swings, Berger and
Yep.
Zalatoris, their swings are night and day different.
Very different. Very different. Yep. And he seems to be, wrapping his arms around it. And we know, look, we go back to most talented guys in the field, top guys in the field, win equity, all those guys that we were talking about. I mean, Tom Kim, Cameron Davis. I mean, Daniel Berger and where he's gone, we've seen it. 4 wins on the PGA Tour, trending the right way. Maybe this is a week that he gets there late on a Sunday and some pots fall. I don't think I'm going to bet it. Feels a little early yet, but it's good to see. I like Daniel.
I'm going to put a placement on that. But when you think about it, he's a perfect fit for desert golf because he flights the ball really well. He's a great wedge player. Guy can get hot with the putter. And he had an awful first round at Black Desert. Then he goes 65-65. And you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like gritty to come back, make the cut. And, so Berger catches my attention right now. We've all wanted him to kind of come back, and he's struggled all year, but he's put some pieces together here between Sanderson and Utah. So as a placement, I like him further down the board. To win, not necessarily sure, but man, in his, he's still healthy. He's still young enough, like a Harris English, that that guy's got some superior talent over a majority of this field. I mean, there's guys like Ben Silverman's going to pop up, and you're like, man,
Yeah.
okay. So like Ben Silverman's facing off with Daniel Berger, and they're both playing well on Sunday. Who do you want to run with, right? I mean, at the end of the day, who's got the win equity there? So
Speaking of win equity, we're getting
Go.
down in the 70s and 80s. There's Kevin Yu, and look, if there's
yeah.
one guy that should have been on Kevin Yu at Sanderson, it should have been me, because that is the kind of guy that I bet A, can hit it.
Yeah.
B, we're looking for that spike in putting. And by golly, Kevin Yu got it at Sanderson Farms, positive 8.7 after just, couldn't put it in the ocean for 3 weeks before that. And then comes to Sanderson, does this thing off the tee, does this thing with his irons that he always does, catches fire with the putter. If anybody should have been on Kevin Yu, it should have been me, because that is the dude that I bet, that profile of player. And I had to laugh, and I was happy for him, but I had to laugh when he won in Sanderson. He can't. I mean, come on. He's not going back to back, is he? More likely to go back to back. More likely to go back to back. Kevin Yu or Matt McCarty.
Matt McCarty, 100%.
Okay.
Because he can putt better.
All right.
Right? Like,
true.
And you can hit it better. Don't get me wrong, but it was like we did all that content for Sanderson week, and the favorite for the tournament was Kashmir Keith, and he took you all the way to the 72nd hole, and then he had a really bad 3-putt, and you're like, everyone's like, oh my God, like, how did that, like, that's just exactly what we were saying, like, at some point, your issues are still issues, and Kevin Yu, congratulations to him, because he overcame them, Anyway, yeah, it's I did like that Kevin Yu win, because he is a statistical darling, and in our world, a lot of people love to bet those guys. And every once in a while, when you get thrown a carrot, like
and then you're not on him. You just feel like, what am I doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I talk about this kind of player every single week.
I was thinking of you. I was thinking of you. Yeah.
I mean, catches fire.
Yep.
I was looking at the last 24 rounds here as we continue to work down the board. And
I got
man,
a guy for you.
JJ
Right
Spawn,
around.
well, he pops in a lot of these models, that damn, and he's up there.
Oh,
And Harry Hall, I'll tell you what, Harry Hall, I think you're on it there. I think I need to bet Harry Hall. I think you're
I
right.
would.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, he's been playing like really solid, leading into that win at the ISCO, and
Mhm.
then he's traveled a bunch. He's played well, and he just makes a lot of birdies. And now he's going home. I mean, it's just like, and he's got that kind of demeanor that
Yeah.
like when the pressure starts to come, he has a way to let air out of the balloon. Whereas I feel like certain guys just like take it too internally and then they just explode on themselves, like I
Mhm.
think Harry Hall's like kind of that personality of his kind of suits somebody who could win for the second time this year or win at home or handle all of that. Another guy to pay
Okay.
attention to down there in this range, 90, could be 100 on some boards or whatever. Nick Hardy's been playing some nice golf.
Yep. Yep.
He's been
Mhm.
playing some really nice golf. He's got a couple of top 20s here in the fall. He's been striking the ball well, and he's just been doing like, he's like a poor man's Cam Davis. They look kind of similar, and they just kind of, rope it out there. And I just somebody down there that certainly going to be on my placement card and in some matchups and stuff, and I'll be looking for him live to bet a bunch. I don't know that he can win, but down in that range, I think he's a valuable add to the week for sure.
University of
He's
Illinois, right? Was it Nick
Oh,
Hardy,
yeah.
Illinois?
Yeah, Mike Smalls,
And
he was on that
Mike Small.
team with, yeah, he was on that team with, um
Illinois is undefeated too, I think, in football right now.
yeah, I
We're
wouldn't be
just
worried
bringing it
about
full
that.
circle. We're just bringing it full circle right
Yeah,
now.
I wouldn't worry about that.
College football.
But yeah, I think he was on that team with Thomas Peters and, Dietrich, and, I mean, that was a loaded team that year.
That was loaded. Wow. Yeah, he
Like,
is,
every
boy.
swing was perfect.
I mean, driver, irons, wow. He is on it right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you talk to me every Tuesday. I find these people. The guy's good. Right now
Does this place fit Austin Eckroat? Is he a guy that we should look at? I mean, we know he's going to be playing from the fairway. His iron game for most of the year, pretty darn good. Struggles a little bit around the green, very streaky putter.
I mean, you start to look at the things you need to do well here. Play medium-sized par fours, par five scoring, putting. He's just really
Feels like a
average.
stretch. Feels like a stretch.
Yeah, it's just there's guys that are playing better.
Yeah.
And like so I mentioned this is like super valuable information, right? So when I ran this report on the last 2 years of just the fall, the FedEx Cup fall. So this is 22 and 23. The best guys, strokes gained total. First guy on the list, Tom Kim. Now he's won twice, so that's going to add to it, right? But when I start to go down just the regular names, the next name that's in this field is Seamus Power. Next name after that, your boy, Cam Davis. Then Matt Kuchar. Then Kitayama. Then Adam Hadwin. Then Taylor Montgomery. Then Joel Damon. Then Eric Cole. Then Brendan Todd, Patrick Rogers, Bo Hostler, Andrew Putnam. So if you're going to bring up Austin Eckert, I get it, but like, man, there's a lot of names there that are in this field that play these courses well, and whatever model you're running, a lot of those names I just said are going to be near the top of the list right now currently. So they have the history and their current form's good, and I don't see that for Eckert. So that's just a thought.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's a bit of a stretch. I think the par four are very valid points. All right. I'll take a break here a second. Got a little something. If you're like most golfers, you blame yourself when you miss a short putt. So after you hold back the urge to throw your putter in the lake, don't do that. You try to fix your putting stroke. But how long does that last? 1 week, 1 round, 1 hole? There's a company called Lab Golf that doesn't think you should be blaming yourself. That's because all putters have this thing called torque, which means the putter face is trying to twist during the stroke, so you grip it like a snake. What Lab Golf did is they figured out how to make putters with no torque. They call it lie angle balance, and you have to feel it to believe it. I did. The Lab Golf putter, you don't have to use a funny putting grip to try to keep the face square. You can putt it any way you want because Lab Golf Putter stays perfectly square by itself. It's effortless. To see how much easier putting can be, head over to labgolf.com. All right, we're down in the hundreds, and it's fitting here coming off of our sponsor, who we appreciate, Lab. And I got to tell you, they are. I text with the owner, Sam Hahn, quite a bit, and I've got a couple guys in here, good players. One of them is 6'9", and so I wanted to get his thoughts on how long we needed to make the broomstick. But they're doing so well. I mean, these people that are going to these putters are doing great. A little birdie told me, and I heard through the grapevine, not through Sam. This is through a different source, that Gary Woodland might be rolling out a Lab putter this week.
Whoa.
And so we know that we have seen these putters do magic with guys that have struggled big time with the putter. And Gary Woodland, I think, falls into that category. I am fascinated.
Yeah.
I am fascinated to see if this is true, because Gary Woodland needs to try it. And if he does, and he gets his putter better, we know this dude can hit it, right?
Yeah.
And we love Gary Woodland. And there'd be nothing more than anybody in this field to get their game right. If I had to pick one guy, it'd be Gary Woodland. And so I hope it's true. I hope it makes a difference. He's at 110. Why not? I'm throwing a little on him. 20-1 or top 20. I'm not going to bet him to win. But you know how it goes. You know how it goes. You switch putters. It's so different and unique. And all of a sudden you're like, holy crap,
oh yeah,
I'm making everything. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, Gary hits it good enough, man. Go to Lucas Glover. I mean, Lucas Glover just came off another third.
Look at Johnny Vegas.
Yeah.
He won with it.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm still waiting on that wine, but that's okay. It's all right. We'll do it.
I do owe you the wine. That's right. On that.
We're only up to 3 bottles, but we're
okay. All right. Let's move on. Let me ask you a question down here. I'm fascinated in this range. I just talked about Gary Woodland at 110.
Yeah.
Cage Lee is interesting to me. Would you go TPC Lee, or would you go Ben Coles?
Oh, Ben Coles. Yeah. Because I had Ben Coles queued up right here.
See, I could read your mind.
Oh yeah. Ben Coles.
I had a feeling you're going to go Ben Coles. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, he's top 7 in birdies gained and birdie or better. So, like, you got to look sometimes at those. Too many people get caught up in, like, is he really good at approach? Okay, but like being a great iron player is helpful. Don't get me wrong, but like cumulative stats, like strokes gained par 3 or par 4s or par 3s, whichever one, birdie or better. I mean, that implies that not only did you put the ball in play off the tee, but then you hit it close and then you made the putt. So like a guy like Ben Coles, who's all fall, just keeps making birdie after birdie after birdie. You know, he shows up in all these easy golf course birdie fests. To me, it makes sense.
I think it does too.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you, he checks out too in like that 100 to 125, 125 to 150.
That's why he makes so many birdies. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Ben Coles is a good play this week. Odds.
Yeah.
I'm on him. I am on him.
Another one down there in that land.
Oh, okay.
Right. Guess who I'm thinking of?
Well,
come on, you can do it.
Hold on. Give me a second. Let me regroup, because I think I knew Coles was going to be on your right, and I'm glad to hear that it was, because I'm on Coles too.
All right.
But
or go wherever you're going to go.
Give me a hint. Give me a hint on who it is.
Give you a hint.
He's not a Ponte Vedra guy, is he?
Oh, I don't know where he lives. But he's been good in the fall. He is definitely bottom of the barrel in DFS. He's always down in the 6,000s. He had a good week last week. He's been good this fall. And he's at 150 on the board I'm looking at, the aggregation board. 150. Yep.
Who is it?
The better Young this year. Carson Young.
You're going Carson. Okay.
Yeah, he's been good lately. He's been good.
135. He's 135 right now.
Oh, okay. I got 150 on FanDuel.
All right, good. Yeah, Carson Young. Yeah.
Anyway, just a guy I think that, again, I love to live bet. And those that follow me on Read the Line all weekend, I put out head-to-head picks, right? And we win those, right? I win them at like it almost a 60% clip, right? And we make money all the time, and that saves when you don't win your outright that week, right? So
Right.
you up and then you more than break even for the week and you kill it in placements, and that's how you make money. And then when you hit a bomb with a winner, then you're like, okay, good, right? So that's kind of the system in place. And Carson Young lately has just been really solid. He's just been shooting some good rounds. And where he sits on the value board, he's kind of just lost there. And I also think that's where like the books sometimes like there's edges there. At the bottom of the board, I think the books just rubber stamp who these guys are. You're like, oh, this
Mhm.
guy did this all year, right? But they don't really look at like, is he trending upward or downward? And we know those things. And because we follow it, basically tournament by tournament. And then you can catch these people in their peak. And Carson Young's been pretty good lately. So
Yeah.
it's just a
All
thought.
right. All
Just
right.
a thought.
So you go Carson Young at 135, and I'll go Joe Highsmith.
Yeah, he's been good too.
Yeah, he's been having a pretty good little run here too.
Yeah, both.
So
Both
there's a couple names, couple bombers down. I mean, hey, you want to go? Who's played here well in the past? Matthew Naismith, 125. He's got a track record here. But I'll give you Highsmith, and I think, and then Carson Young I think is another one good down there. How far are you gonna go? Do I need to keep pushing down or what?
No.
Okay. No.
No, I think that there's a lot of guys near the top that are playing very, very nicely. Hostler, Kitayama, Power, Cole, Jaeger, um, Griffin, English, Hall. I mean, Matty Schmid, Adam Svensson shot 11 under the first round last week. I mean, just all those names right there. Patrick Fishburne. These guys are playing really, really well. I could certainly see one. It's tough for me to get down to the triple digits and invest in that outside of placements. But when those guys are like, there's so many guys playing really well there. You could just go with like Power, Hostler, and Jaeger. Right there in the 30s, and you're like, man, like those three guys. You could see any of those guys winning.
I mean, the only other name that jumps out, and he just can't hit his driver. Seems like it's the same story every week as Taylor Montgomery, obviously from Vegas. And I mean, he just can't hit his driver. I mean, what is going on with his driver? I mean, we're talking 8-9 strokes off the tee, lost.
Well, I mean,
his iron game is getting better. His short game is fine. The kid can putt. He's getting his driver. I mean, get this guy a strong 3-wood or something. I mean, what has happened?
It's like Max Homa.
My God, does he have the driver yips? I mean, what's going on? I don't know.
I don't know. Taylor Montgomery, obviously top 10 putter on tour, right?
He is.
He
short game.
We talked about this last year at the RSM when I was down at Sea Island, and I saw some video of him like really doing some crazy things with his irons because he was hitting his 8-iron as a tour player, like 150 yards. And he was just adding a lot of loft and wasn't getting a lot of shaft lean and everything. And I don't know if those changes have really taken hold this year.
He worked with Butch. He was working with Butch.
He's not had a great year.
No.
So
his driver's awful. I mean, it's like there's bad ball striking, and then there's what I'm looking at with his driver. It has to be some kind of driver yips. Has to be. I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched that closely, but to see numbers like that, -8, -9, you see it?
Oh, yeah, and I just went and looked it up. Over his last 5, he's losing 6.5 strokes with the driver. How do you come back from that? You can't.
Well, his irons at Black Desert pretty good around the green, fine putt. Obviously he's missing cuts because he can't hit it on the planet off the tee.
Look at Procore, lost 10 off the tee.
Yeah.
At Black Desert, lost 8 off the tee. You know how wide it was there at Black Desert? I mean, those things were 50 yards wide, those landing areas. He's a tour player. I mean, this guy's made it on tour. A couple of years ago, he had like 3 top 10s in the fall. And, man.
Yeah. It's too bad. Good guy.
Really, really good guy. His dad's
when I was out there that year. When I was out there that year with that picture I showed you with Harry, and I got to spend some time with Taylor too. And he was playing some good golf during that stretch. I don't know if you remember, but it was 2022. And so he was a top 10 machine through the summer. Remember that?
13 straight starts. He's lost with the driver. 13 straight.
I he's completely lost it. It's sad. Like that has to be some kind of driver yips. All right.
Wow.
There you have it. Hey, good show. This is good. I got through all my names. You get through all your names.
Yeah.
We're back at it. Schreider's Children's Open. I like this tournament. I like TPC Summerlin. I like Bobby Weed. Yeah, so this is going to be fun. So, all right. So next week we got the Zozo.
Yep.
And then a week
we're
off. And then we come back with Mexico. Is that right?
Mexico, Bermuda, and then I'll be down in Jacksonville for Sea Island for the last one. I just booked my trip.
Perfect. So. Perfect. All right, Keith Stewart.
We'll have to do a live show.
At Read the Line. See you next week.
Peace.